Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York.
When I was a cowboy out on the western plains. When I was a cowboy out on the western plains. Well, I made me $500,000 just pulling on the bridle rein. Come a cow-cow, baby, cow-cow,
Hello, and welcome to this Monday edition of the Bluegrass Brooklyn podcast. My name is Liz Wolfe, and today's guest is Rachel Sumner from Rachel Sumner and the Traveling Light Band. And I interviewed her because I was just about to go to the Telluride Festival, and she had won the band contest last year and would be playing this year. Also, a nice personal connection. She's friends with a very good friend of mine, who is the person I ended up going to Telluride with. You'll hear me talking about in the interview Telluride in the future, but I have already been to Telluride and back. So after the segment with Rachel, I'll give you a little bit of my experience of what it was like to be in Telluride. In the meantime, please remember to follow, like, and subscribe our podcast. Share it with your friends far and wide so that we get as many people listening to these amazing musicians that we are highlighting on the podcast. And of course, you can find me online at bluegrassjamsnearme.com. You can download a free songbook. You can reach out to me, and you can list your own jams and find our jams, which are held on the Upper West Side, Riverdale, the Bronx, City Island, New Jersey, and beyond. Thanks for listening.
Well, hello and welcome. I am so excited to have Rachel Sumner on. She is a woman in bluegrass. She's a songwriter, a singer, and she's the band leader of her band, Rachel Sumner and Traveling Light. So welcome, Rachel.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks for having me.
So why I'm talking with Rachel today is because we connected through the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. Last year, Rachel Sumner and Traveling Light won the band contest. So tell us what that was like.
It was crazy. There were 12 bands, and we all had 10 minutes, essentially, to prove that we had what it takes to be on the main stage of Telluride. And they give you a single microphone that you have to gather around and sing around, which was very lucky for us because that's how we choose to do all of our live shows anyway. And we had to do 3 songs, and each song could be no longer than 3 minutes, or it could be a little bit over, and that was fine, but they would penalize you. You'd get points taken off for anything much longer. So we had to kind of trim down some of our arrangements. We worked very hard. We worked for about 6 months on just the arrangements of our set. I was taking into account the elevation is near 10,000 feet, and we really wanted to do this one song that is quite a mouthful. It's I've Been Everywhere, and it goes then Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo. It's just a list of city names, and it's really fun, but I was worried about how I would be able to perform it at 9,000 feet and some change. So I started swimming. I got back into swimming. I was a big swimmer growing up. And this was a great excuse to get back into that. So I was training and we were practicing, and then we decided, what else can make folks know we're a unit in 10 minutes? It's not much time. So we decided to make uniforms. We got these black jumpsuits, and we bought a bunch of patches from Etsy that each had some symbolic meaning tied to our personality or to our lyrics. And we spent hours. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many hours sewing on these patches to 3 uniforms. And so we did all this preparation, and then getting to Telluride is a journey in and of itself. It's a wild ride, but you get there and it's the most beautiful place on earth. So we were just in love with the place, trying not to get elevation sickness, and also trying to perform and show everybody, like, this is what our music is. This is what we're about, because we were so excited to share that. And so we passed through the prelims, and then it was the final 4 bands got to perform on the main stage on Saturday morning, and you had to do 3 new songs, different songs. And so we had worked these up just in case. And we were so excited to play these songs. One of them was the first song I ever wrote, and I wrote it quite close to my first time going to Telluride. And so it felt like a full circle moment for me. Honestly, I cried on stage when they announced the Cody and won. And the prize was that we got to be the first band booked for the following year. And we also got some recording time, a single day at E-Town Studios in Boulder to record an EP. And we did that. And now we're going to release an album. And it feels like a dream that I hope nobody wakes me up from.
How do you get picked to be one of the original 12 in the first place?
So that was more of you have to just log on at the right time, right when they open up tickets, and they have 12 tickets that are available for purchase. And each band that wants to try their luck in the contest has to really sign up for the pre-registration. I tried to do it one year and it just didn't work out. And so I knew I had planned and set many alarms so that I would get into the queue on time. And we lucked out. We were able to be one of the lucky 12 bands that had one of those band contest tickets.
Wow. Now, was there a second prize or a third prize, or that's it, just one prize?
They had second and third place as well. But yeah, it was wild.
And tell me about your anticipation of playing on the main stage as a real band.
Oh, it feels like I think we're going to be less stressed than we were last year. And we're all bringing our spouses, which is really nice. Our families are coming and our friends are coming. And so it feels like heaven, honestly. We know what we're going to do. We're going to be able to do the longer versions of our songs. We're excited to play certain songs like our song Radium Girls, which is a ballad about women who were poisoned by their employers. And, I feel like we're trying to bring what we have in our live show to a really big crowd. And I feel like they're going to resonate with it. And I'm so excited about it. I feel less stress, I would say.
If you're a band, if you're one of the 12, are they all original songs? Is that a requirement?
No, it's not a requirement. We were able to sneak our cover of I've Been Everywhere in, but all of our other songs were original. I feel like most of the songs that you're hearing in the band contest, they're original songs.
Makes sense. So tell me about the other members of your band.
Yeah, so we've got Kat Wallace on fiddle and vocals. She's from Connecticut originally, and she moved to the Boston scene to go to the New England Conservatory. And I met her because I had been watching videos of her shredding fiddle on Instagram during lockdown. That was when I became aware of her. I mean, I would see her just crushing bluegrass tunes, old time tunes, classical music, Celtic music, all of it. And so I was like, wow, this girl can really play. Oh my gosh. And once I had a show at Passim, once they started allowing people to come back in for shows, I decided to put a band together, and I messaged her on Instagram. And I said, hey, do you want to be in my band for my show? And she said, yes. And I am very lucky, and that began a great friendship and a great collaboration. And Mike Siegel is our bassist, and Mike and I go way back. We've been playing together since 2015. I met him in the basement of the Cantab Lounge in Cambridge, where a lot of bands got their start, like Crooked Still, Delamay, my old band Twisted Pine. We started at the Cantab. That had been going on for about 30 years. Every Tuesday night, everybody, all the players would get together and jam in the stairwell or jam in the lower bar. And Mike was there, and we got to play in a lot of tunes together. And then we started playing some country bands around town. And then I started to get brave and bring my songs to him. And so he would play solo gigs with me. And then when I left my band Twisted Pine, I went off and started working on my own solo record. And Mike was my first call. So when things opened up, he was the natural pick for that. And it's been so wonderful having him in the band, having such a dear old friend with us.
So there's the three of you.
Mm-hmm.
What was your patch? What did you pick?
Well, Kat and I have Sacred Hearts on our back. I have these medieval hairs from a medieval manuscript. So they're like hairs with little dandelions coming out of their ears. I've got, what else do I have? Oh, we all have pomegranates on our butt. Cat has some clams, or no, they're oysters. Sorry. She's allergic to clams, but she loves oysters. So she has some oysters. Mike has some mushrooms, and there's a lot of other little tiny patches. And like I said, they correspond to lyrics and just parts of our personality, but I won't reveal all of them. I like that there's some mystery around them.
And you're going to wear those again.
We are. Yeah.
When you said hairs, I was like, hair? Like,
oh, bunnies. Rabbits.
hair with dandelion? Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
You think that the hard work that you put into the preparation, which included that, was part of what had you win?
I think so. I mean, I think that the process, we so enjoyed the process of getting ready. And I think it brought us closer together. I think doing that kind of thing and also donning a uniform, which we've been now since the Telluride contest, we've been on all of our shows. We all wear our uniform. It feels really just uniting, I guess, in a way. It puts you in a different mental space. And I've really enjoyed the effect of that. I also really enjoy not having to think about what to pack. I hate packing. Not worrying too much about what we're going to wear or coordinating takes so much mental lift off. I totally understand why David Lynch had a uniform that he would wear every day so he could just let the creativity happen. And it's nice to have that. But I do think that it's definitely brought us together and it made us more of a unified band unit.
So other than the uniforms and your preparation, what do you think set you apart such that you won?
From a lot of people, I heard that they were very interested in the songwriting, that really spoke to them. We went out on a limb with one of our songs on the main stage. We saved it for the main stage. It's called Wine Apple Rind, and it talks about periods. It starts with some period jokes. And we actually mentioned the word menses, and we talk about Hildegard von Bingen and Roe v. Wade. And so I was like, well, I'm not sure these words have ever been sung on stage at Telluride, but it was really fun to get to do that. And there were some ladies in the audience who heard it. I mean, they loved it. A lot of people really connected with it. And we were like, you're either going to get first place or last place. We're not sure. But, I think that one of my personal goals as a songwriter is to try to bring tough conversations to the surface through fun songs. I keep thinking that music is a little bit propaganda. I think we might as well twist it for the good or what we want to talk about and try to almost Trojan horse it. That song, the way it builds is it starts out with a joke and then it talks about mythology and it builds on, and then the apex is talking a little bit about Roe v. Wade. And so we try to have people buy in and go with us and listen. And that's our mission. And if people aren't on board for that, then it's not their music, and that's okay. And so we really took a chance. We really took a risk, but I'm glad that we did. And we found a lot of people who loved what we were saying.
What do you think Bill Monroe would say about that song?
Oh, he'd say that ain't no part of nothing. For sure. I don't know what he would say. And thankfully, I don't need to know.
I was going to say, what do we think Hazel Dickens would say?
I think she would like it. Hazel Dickens is one of my North Stars in songwriting, and she has influenced me so much. And Alice Gerard, too. I got to meet Alice recently, and I was just a puddle. I am so grateful to those two and what they've done. I mean, they were singing about prostitutes at Bluegrass festivals, that they were unafraid. And so I try to bring that same energy to the Bluegrass festivals, especially to my music in general. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's not to say anything about Bill Monroe in a negative way. I think in the 40s, 50s, men were not talking about that.
No.
I would say I had some experiences myself with men being very embarrassed if anything like periods came up or anything like that.
Absolutely.
So it just wasn't their world.
I will say Bill Monroe is a huge influence. I remember reading his biography and learning that he considered all of his songs to be true life blues. And that really impacted me. And he placed his sadness inside of a song. And that resonated with people. That still resonates with people because we're still singing his songs. But those were actual things that happened to him. And so there are songs that I've directly thought about Bill's true life blues. There was a song we played in the contest called Bankman Blues, which was about my family being evicted from their home. And that I wrote directly because of Bill Monroe. I tried to only use 3 chords because I was like, 3 chords and the truth will make it very Bill-esque. And then I was very fortunate to open for Peter Rowan, and he asked me to perform a song for him backstage, and I was like, all right, well, here's this new song. And he listened to it and very sagely, closed his eyes and he says, needs more chords. And so I said, well, okay. If Peter Rowan is telling me add more chords, he was just saying we had at our disposal so many chords to help tell a story. You can go there. And I said, that's no problem for me because all of my songs have so many. and so I rewrote it with that in mind. But Bill Monroe, huge influence.
Love that story. Needs more chords. You don't usually say that in a jam. Like needs fewer chords.
Yeah.
Chords, please.
Yeah, I can't say all of my songs are very jammable, but I do take my marching orders from Peter Rowan. And if people say anything, I'll just tell them, this is what Peter Rowan said.
Right. Take it from the expert. You bring up a point, which is how do you, as a bluegrass artist, establish yourself and get to be known? And I think I've been to enough jams now where people will say, this is a Steel Driver song, or this is a Joan Newberry song, or this is a Billy String song. And I really think that there's something to being able to replicate the songs that the bands are doing. That helps to amplify your reach. Right? If none of your songs are accessible to somebody sitting around at a jam at a festival, then there's nothing wrong with that, but that just creates a separation.
Yeah.
You and that. Have you thought about that?
That's a good point. I guess I haven't really thought about that in terms of my writing, but maybe just looking at what Peter said to me, I saw it as he could see that I was putting something else on. He could see where it was like he had X-ray vision, and he could see that I was trying to be somebody else, and he could tell that maybe wasn't me. And so from the lesson from Peter Rowan, I took just write what your heart wants to write and use the tools available to you that your ear is drawing in. Maybe there will be some songs that I write in the future that I feel could easily be tossed around a bluegrass jam. That would be cool. That's a good challenge. Maybe my next song will be that way.
One of the things I asked Tim O'Brien when I had my interview with him was, have you ever been in a jam when one of your songs has been called? And he said no, but that sometimes when he's at a festival, he'll walk around and he can kind of hear it from a distance. Right?
Wow.
Cane, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm a business coach by trade.
Yeah.
And so I think about marketing sometimes, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's a marketing tool. Make a song that's singable that people can sing. And whose song is that? Oh, that's Rachel Sumner's song. Don't you want people to do that? That's not to say that the method that you have isn't a good one to think about.
That's a very good point.
Okay, I have some questions about Telluride.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you been to that festival?
3 times.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time was you were trying to get into the band or contest or no?
I didn't even play the guitar at the time. I was 18 and I was very into Nickel Crate growing up. Bluegrass wasn't a part of my life growing up, but I was very entrenched in folk music. My mom always said me to play. I was a flute player though, and I was into band, marching band, orchestra, all of that. I was doing that. And I was going to school for composition and film scoring, and flute was my main instrument. But before I went, I wanted to go to Telluride with some friends, and they didn't really have the money for it. So I volunteered so I could get in for free. And they assigned me the compost job, which actually was so sweet because the Festivarians really take care of the folks on the compost. They were always making sure we had water. People would come by, they'd say, "Do you want a sandwich?" They would feed us. They were so kind, and they were so happy that somebody was sorting through the compost and making sure it was clean. Telluride's very, very conscious of their impact on the climate and the earth. And so that was my first year. And I returned the following year and did the same thing, had a lot of fun. And then that was around the time I started to play guitar. I picked up the guitar when I went to Berkeley, and folks were just trying to practice fiddle tunes. They were like, here are the chords to the tune, Rebecca. I need to practice my soloing in B. And so that was how I learned guitar chords. I was just learning how to be a solid rhythm player. And then I started working at Bluegrass songs. Molly Tuttle was in my class, and she showed Hazel and Alice to me. James Alley Blues was the first song I ever heard them do. And so Molly and I worked that up, and we started just going through the whole Hazel and Alice discography so that at parties we could just call a song and we would have the harmony down and all that. And, Foghorn String Band was a huge influence as well. Reeb's guitar playing, I learned every note of that. And that was around the time I started writing songs even. And as I learned new chords, I would try to put it into a new song. And that's how I internalized guitar playing. It was very holistic, the way that it all happened. Guitar playing and songwriting went very hand in hand. And then I co-formed Twisted Pine, and that was what really pushed me to become a better guitar player, because they were all incredible players. But our dream was always Telluride, and I carried that dream all the way through to last year. And that was the first time I'd been in 14 years. So,
So Molly Tuttle was your classmate, is what I just heard you say, and you got to play and sing with her. What serendipity that was.
Absolutely. And we all knew that she was just going to be huge. She was so kind and sweet. And Bronwyn Keith Hines was in my class, John Mylander, like crazy talent in the Roots program around the time that I was there. And it was incredible. And it led me to dropping my film scoring major and becoming a more broad and vague professional music major so that I could graduate last year.
Is that a thing? I didn't even know that's a thing.
It is a thing. Yeah. So I have a degree in professional music with a concentration in composition and a minor in conducting, which I'm clearly doing a lot of. But I mean, it was a dream going there because I met everybody who's important to me right now.
Are you still hanging out with Molly and Bronwyn?
No, Bronwyn, I mean, I see her every now and then. I will exchange messages and stuff, but a lot of folks moved to Nashville, and I stayed in Boston, and I started working at Club Passine, which is a really amazing folk venue that's been here for about 70 years. So I started performance managing there, and that's really my roots here for the time being. And I really wanted to grow my own thing. So it's fun getting back out there and starting to see everybody at festivals. We all have such a good time at festivals together.
So you mentioned Compost Crew as a volunteer, and you also mentioned Della Mae. Celia was on the trash. Ray Fox. A couple of years, 2 or 3 years. It's a thing. It's a thing. So listen, everybody, if you're on the stage at one of these festivals, sign up for Trash Crew.
Exactly.
That's interesting that I'm getting.
I think that's the takeaway. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that about Celia, but I'll have to mention that to her.
Yeah. So what other aspirations are you having right now around your music?
We've got a lot of recorded music in the pipeline currently. So we're putting out this little EP that we did through Telluride, but we've got a whole other record of original songs that we're building up for releasing in February of next year. We're going to start doing singles in the fall. As far as aspirations of stages to play, we play just about anywhere. But some bucket list places, the Opry, the Ryman, the Caverns. I've seen amazing stuff at the Tennessee Caverns. Largo is a place in California that I grew up going to, and that was where I first saw Nickel Creek play and Punch Brothers play, and it was really influential. So that would be an aspiration too. But just more touring, more performing, more recording, more collaborating with other folks. I would love to do some more co-writing with folks.
And back to Telluride for a moment. Since you've been there and I haven't, give me 3 things that you think I'd better make sure I do while I'm there.
You better wear a lot of sunscreen.
Okay.
You better drink a lot of water.
Okay.
And you better just take in every second of music that you can and just revel in it, because there's so much beauty, there's so much wonder. And maybe as a 4th thing, find some time to go take in the hiking trails or something. I mean, the mountains are gorgeous and there's amazing hiking trails. Also, you should ride the gondola. Even if you don't have to, you should ride the gondola and maybe bring your instrument and sing a song in the gondola. It's great.
Okay.
And it's free. The gondola is free there. And you get the best view of Telluride.
Wow. Do people do that? Do they take their instruments and
Jam sessions happen all in the gondola. People just ride it back and forth and they will just jam. It's great.
Okay, now this is good information, because that's one of the questions that I had when I was starting to find out about Telluride. I said, oh, I just assumed I'd be able to go into other campgrounds, and because where do you want to go for the jamming? Because it's my whole thing. Oh, you need the wristband. And so I was like, well, what if I'm in a campground and there's no jamming in? So,
I haven't camped. I've been lucky. I've had a friend who lives there, so I've always posted up at her place. I've heard that it's not so much a jamming festival, but I mean, there's places all around. I feel like people are jamming outside of the campgrounds. The whole town becomes kind of the grounds for all of that happening. But you can arrange some jamming in the gondola, and those are the best jams, I think.
totally going to do that. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Jamming is just a way to get to know people. And the best part is when you stumble upon stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not expecting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I posted in, there is a Telluride Facebook group, and I posted in there, just said, where's the jamming? And people have said different things. So I'll definitely be looking. Yeah. And so there's one main stage, and that's where you'll be playing. And when are you playing?
We're playing Saturday at 11 a.m. They're doing like a side stage in between some main stage stuff in the sponsor area. So we'll be playing there on Thursday at 4 p.m. And then there's also there's, I think, a new program in Mountain Village. So you ride the gondola up, and then it's pretty close to where the gondola gets off. We're going to be performing there on Friday. And then we're doing Elks Park stage on Sunday, which don't sleep on Elks Park. That's the free stage. They do a lot of what they call workshops, but it's like you can see your favorite artists playing a different set or collaborating in a new way. I feel like I heard that Bela Fleck is going to be doing a thing with Alash, which is the Tuvan throat singing group. We're going to be doing a thing called the Femericana Review, where we're going to have femme artists coming in and sitting in with us, and it'll be really fun. So it's just an overload of amazing music and experiences. You're going to have a great experience no matter what.
And that's the part that I like the most, is where I can basically wander from thing to thing. I'm going to have FOMO because there's so much cool stuff going on.
Absolutely. There's no way to do it all, but you don't need to do it all.
No. So, main stage this year as an emerging artist, let's call you. Main stage is the world over next. I guess that's where you're going with that.
Hopefully.
I'll put that out there for you.
Okay, thank you.
Main stage is the world over.
I like that.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I've enjoyed every minute of our conversation, and hope to see you in Telluride.
I'll see you there, Liz. Thank you for having me.
I really enjoyed getting to know Rachel, interviewing her, and meeting her. I did get to watch her play a few times there at Telluride at all the different places she described. Certainly the main stage. There was also this really cool sort of small side stage that was in the main stage area, but to the side. And then going in the gondola over the mountain to Mountain Village and getting to see her play in Mountain Village. They had a small stage set up. That was probably my favorite place to go watch music. My favorite place was Mountain Village. The second favorite place was a place called Elk Park. Anyone who was around could go to watch people, and all the big names were on there. Sierra Hull, Bella Fleck, Jake Shimabukuro. There was all these amazing musicians who were playing there as well. And I loved that stage because it was small, it was intimate, and it was right in the town center. And then, of course, there was the main stage, which was the big moment for Rachel to get to play on that. And that's where you saw the bigger, more produced acts, of course. One thing that I found very interesting about Telluride that was different for me than many of the festivals I'm accustomed to going to is it was a much wider variety of music. There were lots of drum sets. There was a lot of electrified music. It is the Telluride Bluegrass and Country Music Festival. They definitely brought that country music in, but they also had opera singers and throat singers and just Chris Thiele doing Bach cantatas for his opening set. So it was a lot of really interesting and different type of music that was available to me. And certainly some points during it, I was like, you know what, I'd really rather hear some banjo right now than drums. But every single set, every single musician they had on the stage was quality and good music. The one thing that was lacking for me in the Telluride Festival was the jamming. I did carry my guitar around. I did not find very much jamming, certainly during the day. And the only time that I jammed was between midnight and 2 a.m. on my campsite. So I was staying in the Lawson Hill campsite, which is 4 miles away from the site. So I would have to take a shuttle back and forth, which was fine. The only thing about that is you can't kind of run back to your campsite because you want to get more seltzer or pick up your guitar or change into warmer clothing. It swung wildly from very hot during the day to very cold at night. I was actually really cold camping. Thank goodness for my friend Lori. She brought all the equipment that we needed. She brought extra blankets and everything. So back to the jamming at my campsite between midnight, which was after the last show was done, go back to the campsite, and I did find some people to jam with until 2. And the reason that we ended at 2 is because that's when quiet hours started. So it was kind of a hidden bonus because I probably would have kept jamming and then I would have been very tired the next day. So I did a lot more music watching this time around at this festival than I do at other festivals. Like, I want to see the musicians, but I also want to jam. So I didn't find that part to be particularly fulfilling. I did get around to other campsites, but it just wasn't to be this time at all. Something I learned about that is that the festivals that I do go to more regularly, I know people, I know jammers, I know where to go. But in this case, I'm sure there was jamming. I just didn't know where to go. And to be with other friends who enjoy jamming is something like if you can make your own jam, and I had to seek out other people's jams. So that was not as fulfilling for me. In the interview, Rachel mentions the gondola, taking it up. It is free. It's amazing. I did not see anybody playing music. I did take it to the top of the mountain. I mean, Telluride is just a spectacularly beautiful place. And it is set right in this box canyon. It's a sweet little town. I loved the part where they had the food vendors, but you could actually just take a walk into town and have dinner sitting at a restaurant. So I feel like I got a very wide variety of experiences. Some of those other experiences, I am going to be doing some more interviews with some other folks that will describe those more in detail. Also, philosophically, what the music festival tries to impart with the people that have been going there for practically the entire time. Bela Fleck, Sam Bush, different people like that. So you're going to be hearing more about Telluride. And I would say the same advice that Rachel gave to me, which is wear sunscreen and make sure that you drink lots of water. I definitely did that. And get up on that mountain and see the scenery and just walk around and just experience Colorado. It's my first trip to Colorado. Definitely would want to go back again. And I definitely recommend checking it out. So thanks for listening once again. You can find us online at bluegrassbrooklyn.com. That's spelled BKLYN for Brooklyn. And please follow, like, and subscribe to our podcast so that we can share this music with as many people as possible. And you can find me online at bluegrassjamsnearme.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you around the jam circle.
Push through curtain cracks and let's hear on the sheet.